Unsell Episode 3, Starting School, a Sonic the Hedgehog OC and non-canon alternate universe fanfic. Now, if y'all hear a bit of background noise, my brother's in his other room playing a game, something like that. So, a little heads up. So, I'm not sure what it is, but I can hear it. I'm not sure if anyone else can hear it, but but I can definitely hear it. So, but we're not gonna let that distract me. But anyway, let's get into today's fanfic. It's been 6 years now, and Fantasee is now 6 years old and talking and out of her diapers. Sally Acorn is now 26 years old and is finding some free time to hang out with Fantasee as she is busy with some of her princess work and finding the time to exercise to lose even more weight and get back to the healthy weight she was at when she was 16. Today is going to be a very special day for both Fantasee and Sally Acorn. Fantasee is going to be starting in kindergarten today, while Sally does her princess work later, and later goes to pick up Fantasee from kindergarten after working out for a little while at the gym. While it's in the morning time at 8:50 a.m. in the middle of August, both Sally and Fantasee just had their breakfast at the castle and now are heading to kindergarten for Fantasee to begin her first day while she's holding her Aunt Sally's hand walking with her. As they both got to the kindergarten school, they walked right through the front doors into the lobby, and from where Sally checked Fantasee into the front desk concierge for her first day at kindergarten. "Good morning, Your Highness, and good morning, young lady," the kindergarten front desk concierge said in a happy and cheerful voice to both Sally and Fantasee. "Are you here to sign in and drop off Fantasee the Hedgehog today for her first day of kindergarten, Your Majesty?" "Yes, ma'am," Sally said as she bent over a little bit to sign the papers for checking in Fantasee into kindergarten. While she is signing the papers to check in Fantasee then looked around the lobby to look at the awesome and cool paper craft and drawing decorations that was hanging from the ceiling and wall that has uplifted her for inspiration on all the unique art in the lobby. Sally then finished signing the check-in paperwork and brought Fantasee with her through the doorways leading into the hall that's from the front desk to her right, that the front desk concierge told her. "Okay, Your Majesty, the main home classroom is down the very end of the hall onto your left." "Thank you so much, ma'am." "No problem, Your Majesty. I'm glad to be of service." And the kindergarten front desk concierge said cheerfully as Sally made her way to the doorway with Fantasee holding her hand. The hallway has a total of 5 rooms with 2 on the right side and the other with 3 on the left side wall of the hallway. The right side has an art and math class, while the left hand side has a restroom for both genders, a library, and a homeroom to where Fantasee is being taken to. After walking through the door, Fantasee seen how playful and colorful the room looked when she walked in holding her Aunt Sally's hand, along with her other kids hanging out and talking to their friends. While they waited near the door, the teacher came over and greeted them. The teacher is a tall lady that's a bit taller than Sally herself. She has orange fur, peach skin, and looks like a raccoon. "Hello, Sally. It's been a long time since I last seen you. How have you been?" "Hey, Maureen. I've been good lately. How about you?" "That's good. I've been good too," Maureen said in an excited and happy voice while hugging and shaking Sally's hand. She also noticed the little girl she's holding hands with on to her left side that she has brought into her classroom that looks almost very similar to Sonic the Hedgehog. "Who is this precious little lady that you brought into my kindergarten class, Sally," Marine said as Fantasy holds onto her aunt's hand and hides behind her, feeling very shy of the new people around her. "This is my adopted niece, Fantasee the Hedgehog. I adopted her when she was a newborn baby, and I love and cherish having her in my life every day as if she's my very own daughter," Sally said, panning her head down to her left to look at Fantasy and look back at Marine. "Oh, by the way, Marine, what time should I come pick Fantasy up from school today?" she asked before leaving to go do more princess work and duties. You can come back to pick her up from 2 to 2:30, Sally. I'll make sure she has a very fun and good first day at kindergarten today." "Sounds good. I'll be back to pick her up from school later on today." As Sally lets go Fantasy's hand and puts her hands on her shoulders, Fantasy started to be a bit upset and worried as Sally is about to head out. She then told Fantasy at eye level, "I'll be back later to pick you up, okay? I'm not abandoning you or leaving you behind. I just need to get some princess duties done, and I need you to learn some educational things from school today, alright?" Fantasy then shakes her head in understanding and acknowledging her aunt. Sally then leans in and kisses her on the cheek and hugs her, along with Fantasy hugging her back. Rain then put her hand on her chest from where her heart is awing in the beautiful and emotional moment of aunt and niece kind of close bond that Fantasy and Sally have. "Just remember, Auntie loves and cares about you a lot, and I'll be back to pick you up. I love you, Fantasy." "I love you too, Auntie." As Sally got back on her feet and walked out the door, heading back to the castle for her princess duties to get done, Fantasy then started to get slowly tear up more and cry, and when Marine saw this, she got on one knee and hugged Fantasy as Fantasy hugged her homeroom teacher back too. As the bell has rung for literacy and writing class to be done for lunchtime to start next, as Fantasy went to her cubby to put her stuff away and pick up a lunch bag from the front door leading into the homeroom, she looked around the room to see that all of the tables had been fully occupied with kids talking, eating their lunches too, except one table that just needs one more person to fill since it only has 3 chairs and 2 girls sitting in the other chairs. Due to Fantasy being shy and around new people that she doesn't know or seen around a lot or much, Rain bends down on one knee and told her in a calm and happy voice, "Don't worry, Fantasy. I know what it feels like to meet new people that you don't know, but I want you to meet some new friends at least. Just see this as an opportunity of meeting new people too, like Sally has always done for you too in the past," she said to Fantasy as she started to feel a bit confident and went over to the table with the 2 girls that are sitting at and sat down, looking at both the kids on both sides. The one on the right is a purple squirrel, while the one on the left is a green badger. After the purple squirrel and green badger got to know each other as friends a little bit, they both saw that Fantasy had sat down at their table and they said hi to her. "Hi!" they both said in a happy voice, while Fantasy replied with a soft whispering hi. "Hello." The green squirrel notices. I meant to say purple, but the purple squirrel notices that she's shy and decided to have her introduce herself, and her new friend introduce themselves. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Hazel the Squirrel. I'm Tanya the Badger. They both introduced themselves, and Tanya then now asked Fantasy her name now, as Fantasy said in a shy voice, I'm Fantasee the Hedgehog. Fantasy said, introducing herself to them both. Hazel then began to speak up and say, "That's a very beautiful, unique, and fascinating name you have. Something tells me that we are going to be great friends, Fantasy." Hazel said in a cheery voice, "Thank you for the compliment, Hazel." "You're welcome, Fantasy." The three friends then began chatting away while eating their lunch and slowly getting to know each other as friends. It's 1 p.m. and Sally Acorn has made it to the gym to begin her workout for an hour in order to lose weight and get back into her fit shape she once had before, as she knows that she's not cut out for any adventure with the weight she has now. Before Sally can weigh herself, after checking in, she remembers that she weighs 305 pounds of her weight last time she checked her weight at home, since she has a scale there in her own bathroom too. Sally then went to the women's locker room to get changed into her workout shorts and short tank top before working out and putting them into the locker that she got assigned to when she signed up at the fitness and gym place. She started to do some stretching exercises first on one of the equipment and set the bar to 8 pounds to start off kind of easy on her, since it's been an extremely long time since she last worked out. She started doing a stretching set for 15 minutes before heading to the next one. After finishing that equipment, she then went to the next one when she started to get into the stretching position for what the equipment wants her to do. Two guys with creepy smiles walked by and catcalled her. "Looking good there, hot mama." I can't do it. Where's all that? Let's see. After that happening, she then felt really uncomfortable and a bit annoyed with the counter. However, she just shrugged it off and let her mind think back about something else, like how Fantasy's first day at kindergarten is during the whole set for 15 minutes. When she finished with her stretching, Sally then went to the water fountain to get a quick drink before getting on the treadmill next for 30 minutes. She started the machine up and set the speed to 2 miles per hour to pace herself on the treadmill. And nearing the end of her walking pace on the treadmill, the same two guys that catcalled her earlier saw her again and came over to quote-unquote hang out with her, by one guy standing on the left of the machine and the other standing on the right. So I saw this and she started to get uncomfortable and annoyed with them again. The guy on the left of the treadmill equipment that she was walking on with a creepy look then said to her, "Come on, sweet cheeks, why don't you give me a smile?" "Buzz off, you creep," Sally said in an annoyed and mad voice to the guy as she just ended her workout on the treadmill and is getting off to head back to the woman's locker room, only to get stopped by the first guy that talked to her at the treadmill. "Whoa, where is all this feisty attitude coming from? Now, how about we go back to my place and quote-unquote work out together?" After the creep said this to her, she then, with a very hard kick from her right butt to the guy's little friend, he then put his hands on the part from where his little friends got hit, as the pain hurts a lot and his smile faded away into a face of pure pain and agony. While the creep was in pain and his friend checking on him and seeing if he's okay, Sally quickly grabbed all of her stuff from her locker and walked out of the ladies' locker room and started heading for the door, and decided to skip seeing her weight now on the scale due to the situation with the creeps. As she is heading to to the front door, some female Mobian strangers comforted her and checked on her. "Are you okay, Your Highness?" "I'm very sorry that those creeps are overbarring you, Your Highness." The female fitness member said to Sally as she responded back to him, "I'll be fine, and it's going to be handled by the authorities soon. I'm calling the police now, Your Highness. I'm so sorry that your experience here was very uncomfortable." "It's alright, and I'll be back here tomorrow to work out anyway before I pick my niece up from kindergarten, since I'll give this place a second chance." "Thank you, Your Majesty. You have a wonderful and nice day now." You too. You too," Sally said as she made her way out the front door with her gym bag over her shoulders. She got outside and took a few slow, deep breaths. After doing that, she now went to go back pick up Fantasee from kindergarten, as it is 2:10 p.m. and the kindergarten school is only a 10-minute walk, as she decided to stop by the gas station first to get herself a refreshing Mobian power energy drink for herself and a small chocolate milk drink for Fantasee. If she has a good day, good first day at kindergarten, but she doubts that will be mean or rude to anyone. After the school bell rung for dismissal time, Fantasee knew that now it's time to get her bag and backpack and things ready, and wait at the table with her two new friends, so that way they can be picked up from their family or relatives from school along with other kids. As her new two friends already got picked up and waved goodbye to see Fantasee tomorrow at school again, and it's already 2:45 p.m. She started to begin to worry a bit at first, but a second later, her auntie comes walking in through the door to pick her up in her gym uniform, and the teacher called for Fantasee. "Fantasee, your aunt is here to pick you up." After Fantasee heard that, she grabbed her stuff and ran straight for Sally to give her a big hug, as she already is bent down on one knee to give her a hug back too. Fantasee was filled with happiness and joy after seeing her aunt again from picking her up from school, as she has a tear rolling down her cheek out of happiness. Sally then rubbed the tear off her cheek and got back up on her feet. Maureen then replied to Fantasee in a happy and calm voice to her about not running inside the school. "Remember our rules from this morning, Fantasee. No running inside school." "Okay, I'm very sorry, Miss Maureen." "It's okay. Just remember the rules next time, alright?" "Alright." Maureen then smiled as both of them walked out the door and waved goodbye to their teacher to her on their way out. Sally then gave Fantasee a chocolate milk for hearing about her good behavior, as they both head towards home and talk about how their day went today. Now, before I end this video off, so I just want to give a little life lesson right here for editors know, but everyone, please don't go calling anyone that's a stranger that you don't know well as a friend in public. It's harassment and it makes the person extremely uncomfortable. Don't do this to any man, woman, trans woman, tomboys, or femboys, and many more. I can understand how some people can be very good looking and attractive, but that does not mean that you can try to make a move to get them with them like it's one of those adult websites online. You're also asking a free ticket to jail for it as well.